She would have made it to stock exchange.
Hi everyone, welcome to our next speaker, Chad Seaman. Chad is going to speak with us on ArchStrike Linux. And Chad is a senior security intelligence and response team engineer. Chad is also a maintainer and a partner of ArchStrike, and he will be talking to us about how awesome ArchStrike Linux is today. Welcome, Chad.
Behind the curtain, the benefit of speaking at BSides Tampa is apparently you get free queso. I'm excited about it. Okay, so what I'm going to do up here, I'm going to introduce you to ArchStrike Linux. I'm going to first introduce you to Arch Linux methodologies in general, in case you're unaware of what separates Arch from, say, an Ubuntu or a Red Hat or a CentOS. Then cover some underlying reasons why I think this is good and why ArchStrike is awesome. And finally, we're going to wrap up. We'll do a live demo where hopefully my computer does not catch fire, and we will install ArchStrike running on a VPS in the cloud. Whoa. Yeah, that's right. And it's awesome because you will then have a really fat pipe to do all kinds of nefarious things on the internet. So it's fun. Not nefarious. Not nefarious. Nefarious. Research. All right. So what the fuck is ArchStrike? ArchStrike is an Arch Linux repository and layer for security professionals and enthusiasts. We'll get into more about what is a repository and a layer versus, say, a distro in a later slide. But the bottom line is, it is a set of tools that can be added to Arch Linux in general, but we also offer installers, VMs, and other stuff which we'll also talk about. First things first, though, what is Arch Linux? I promise not all of my slides will be this dense or boring, but we've got great things on Wikipedia, and I just copy and pasted them because I'm also a pirate. So, Arch Linux, what is it? It's a Linux distribution, targets i686 and x86 by the core development team. It also supports ARM v6, ARM v7, ARch64 via Arch Linux ARM, which is not the core devs, but a spin-off team that is dedicated just to those platforms and bringing Arch to your Raspberry Pis, your Odroids, etc. The design approach of Arch is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. It's a general guideline with the primary focus on elegance, code correctness, minimalism, and simplicity. It is not your baby's first Ubuntu. It expects you to have a little bit of proficiency at the very least. It's not going to pop up fancy, flashy things and tell you when things are breaking or why they're breaking. Instead, it's going to give you a warning in the terminal and D-message and everything else, if you're familiar with Linux, that you're used to. And there's a very good chance you'll actually be able to fix it, unlike my experiences with some other distros where you just slip into dependency hell and then give up and nuke the install. It has its own package manager. It's called Pacman. Just like your apt-get, your yums, your RPMs, not RPMs, but you know what I'm saying. All that, it's a binary package distribution channel. It handles updates and installs. It uses a rolling release model. So what this basically means, such that a regular system update is all that is needed to obtain the latest Arch software. Installation images released by the team are simply up-to-date snapshots of main system components as they stand. It also has awesome documentation. That's actually how I found Arch. I kept finding their documentation while troubleshooting other issues for other distros, and was like, maybe I should just go here. Like, these guys really seem like they have their stuff together. So, underlying, there's some core principles to Arch and what makes Arch Arch. It's referred to as the Arch way. This is a very condensed version of it. The key tenets are simplicity. It defines simplicity as without unnecessary additions or modifications. So the goal is to give you what was intended without needing to wrap a bunch of polish on a turd, if you will. It focuses on modernity, which basically means that they constantly push the latest stable releases of the versions of software so long as that software does not cause systemic package breakage and instability. What this basically means is there's a core team, they maintain the core packages, it goes through a testing, vetting, stability checking before you ever see it. So even though it's bleeding edge and rolling release, it's not just like, we'll do it live. You know, there's actually a little bit of logic going on. Pragmatism. This is a big part of the Arch way. It's basically, hey, we figured out a great way to do things, let's all do it the same way. You know, when you install like a package, and sometimes the configuration files are in opt, and sometimes they're in user share, and sometimes they're in Etsy whatever. And you're just like, I don't know where I'm looking for half of this stuff on these weird packages that I'm pulling in from PPAs and everything else. So they focus on pragmatism, but not to the point of failure. It's pragmatism within a reliable, dependable means. So if being pragmatic is not realistically possible due to design decisions of the original package authors, then exceptions can be made, but if it is possible to be pragmatic, the focus is on that. User centrality. It's intended to fill the needs of those contributing to it rather than trying to appeal to as many users as possible. If you hated when Ubuntu switched to Unity, like I did, then Arch is exactly the kind of thing you might be interested in, because you're not having stuff crammed down your throat. You truly get the ability to Occam's razor your installations. This is vanilla Arch. So it's targeted at proficient Linux users and anyone with a do-it-yourself attitude. So basically, if you're comfortable in Linux, if you're not comfortable in Linux especially, you should consider it, because you will learn a ton, you will better understand how your system works, you will better understand all kinds of features. But at the end of the day, it's just pretty much bare bones. Versatility. It's a general purpose distribution. Upon installation, only a command line environment is provided. Rather than needing to go in and rip out the services and the daemons and the packages and the libs you don't need, and probably stumbling into dependency hell, you start with a bare bones system and you tack on what you need. Package management. Package management system. Installation, upgrades, removals, downgrades, features automatic dependency resolution, and is binary based. So unlike, say, a merge or Gen 2 or something, or compiling packages from source, a lot of the complexities of dealing with dependencies, dealing with conflicts, all of that is managed by the package manager, but you don't have to compile from source. The other side of that coin is the Arch user repositories. These are basically packages that have been built by community members. You don't know who they are. You don't know how smart they are. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know if they're malicious. So you have to really tread lightly here. The other side of that story is there are so many great packages in there. Like, you can get Steam, you can get the latest drivers, you can get stuff, if it's unofficial, and it's still rolling release, but you want the get head version as opposed to the get release version, like, that's where this decision happens. There is a build process. It's basically compiling from source. It's little more than a standardized structured shell script that runs through an interpreter and then executes those commands on behalf of the person building the package. Bundles it all up in a nice binary blob, which is then functional with packing. So it's really awesome. Yeah.
Quick question: is there any kind of community feedback that would steer you as to the, the quality or safety of some of those online?
There is. Even on R, there is. Every package build comes with a fully functioning rating system, commenting, feedback system, and there are even tools that you can tack on to Arch that come out of R that make consuming R packages even easier and basically integrate R directly into the package manager itself. So like a downside with R, I grab a package, I run pacman update, and it's not checking out, but you can you can download it and install the secondary package, my favorite is PackHour, and it will integrate it into your package management system. So when you do your system update, not only are you updating the official repositories, but you're also running through the packages that were installed from an R standpoint, and running out and checking the latest versions of those, and pulling them down and rebuilding them from source when new versions come out. And this is incredibly handy for stuff that's posted on GitHub, as an example. So, all right, I timed this last night, and I'm under-caffeinated, and my time is going to be tight. So hold questions till the end for the rest, please. All right, so ArchStrike is not a distro. Distros maintain their core functionality, their core packages by hand. An example of a distro would be Manjaro, and because of their customization levels that they have and they're maintaining stuff, they will pin packages at previous versions and older versions. So while it is rolling release, it's not leading edge. So we are not a distro. We do not maintain that. We only maintain a subset of these security-oriented packages, and that's it. It is security-oriented, as in tools, not as in hardened. If you're looking for a Whonix replacement or a Tails replacement or something along those lines for doing your nefarious things on the internet, we are not your guys. We can be, but we're not out of the box. If you make the incentive to harden and anonymize and do those steps, you can totally get there. But you do not get there by just popping this thing in and go. It's beginner friendly-ish.
Wow.
It's more beginner friendly than vanilla Arch. It's less beginner friendly than Linux Mint. And sticking in there, it's about as friendly as Kali. Put it that way. It's great for security professionals. It's great for security enthusiasts, those people that do not do this as a job but have fun doing it. It's great for pen testers. It has lots of tools that will help them in their day-to-day work. It's fantastic for CTF players and teams. I'm not going to lie, I fill all 4 of those roles, and I get the most use out of this when playing with CTFs. Because, like, how many times have you run into stego problems in the real world? Like, never. So, how many times are you brooding a CRC32 value out of a zip file that has 1,000 files in it? Never. So, yeah, it's fantastic for all of that stuff. We ship live CDs, we ship VM images. It's also fantastic as a daily driver install, but for a couple reasons. One, it's basically just Arch at the end of the day. Even if you use our install ID or our install CD, installer script, whatever, at the end of the day, it's a vanilla Arch install, but the steps that you have to take to add the repository to your official repositories are just done for you. We've locally signed the key, we've set up the mirrors, we've got your pacman conf all configured, and you even get a nice shiny theme. We have a lot of tools. Last count, we have more tools than Kali, and a lot of them work. I'm saying a lot of them because there are a lot of them, and it's very hard to get 100% coverage, especially when there's 1,200 things, and any of them could be updating at any given time, and we try and stay on top of it. If they don't work, tell us. Why should you consider ArchStrike? It's light, it's clean, it's stable, it's fast. Light here is used in the sense of operation, not in the sense of how much disk space we take. We are a fairly large Install, if you install everything, it comes out to about 7 gigs of hard drive. It's not huge, but for a lot of people, when they go to grab a VM, they're like, it's 7 gigs. That's like, it's like, yeah, but you've got everything you need right there. It's customizable. You can make it what you want. You don't like our window manager, you don't like anything we install by default, then install Vanilla Arch and install ArchStrike into it. We are rolling release, so you do get the bleeding edge. Last count, there were 1,200 plus tools. Notice I say that work, star. We have 2 separate means of hooking into our package management system. We have stable, which have been tested, built. A human has interacted with them and tried to put them through the paces that they would see in a real-world environment. That is very hard to do in a lot of cases. Sometimes you need entire networks, sometimes you need Windows networks, sometimes you need domain controllers, and to spin up an entire virtual Windows network to test some of these theories and tools is not realistic for a single package. It has a get-out-of-your-way mentality. Keep it simple, stupid. We give you the tools. We don't make you use them in our special way. We don't try and do anything special. We run 0 kernel modifications by default. This helps improve stability. If any of you have ever ran Backtrack before it became Kali with its custom modifications to the kernel as your daily driver, and then plugged in some random USB thing that you wanted to test and got a kernel panic, you will understand the importance of a stable kernel and why patching it willy-nilly to get an extra package to work over here isn't really something you should be doing or would be recommended. We support x86, x64, ARM, and AARch, so get your pen test packages on your Raspberry Pi, get them on your desktop, get them on your laptop, get them on your server, get them everywhere. We have a beginner-friendly guided installer. If you've never gone through an Arch install, it's a wiki page, and you have to do it all. Wow. You partition your drives, you set up your swap, you make your file systems, you inject your grub or your UEFI, all of that. So you set up your user accounts. For people coming from a traditional an Ubuntu or something with a guided installer or graphical installer, it's daunting the first time. They're terrified. I don't know why. It's like my grandma trying to program the time on the VCR. It's just like they're afraid they're going to touch something and it's just not going to work anymore. So we wrote an installer to try and get a wider audience to consider us in the face of the ease of use that is Kali and others. We've already covered the VM images and existing installs. Another big thing is we believe in the Arch way. So much so that we actually respect our upstream packages. As mentioned, some distros will pin older packages in their distro and ignore upstream changes. We do not do anything of that nature. We actually, if an official maintainer was to come in and take every single package we maintain today and pull it into official to where we no longer have to maintain it, and it's not our problem, it would be like the best day of my life. I wish that would happen. And when that happens, we put up zero fight. Hey, this guy wants to take that package over, and he's a trusted core maintainer for community or any other branch of packages that come out of the main dev team. Please take it. Please take it. Thank you. Please take it. We're friendly. Come and talk to us. If you have bug problems, you can submit tickets. You can find us on Reddit. You can find us on IRC. You can find us everywhere. Alright, so install. Existing install installation is my preferred method. I always go vanilla Arch install, tack ArchStrike into it once I've got everything configured and set up, and then I'm good. This is the primary means of installation for ARM-based devices. Because Arch Linux ARM is the person that maintains the vanilla Arch installs, and those processes vary depending on board, depending on architecture, everything else, they can handle that, and then once you get that functional and working, you can just add us. From vanilla to a full ArchStrike install is about 10 commands that you can copy and paste directly into the terminal. So it's really not that tricky. This allows you to configure the machine how you want it. No bloat, no dependency hell, no bullshit, no random daemons, none of that. You only need to install the tools you want or need. You do not have to install everything. You can literally pick and choose, and it will only pull down the package and the dependencies that package has. In my opinion, this is the best way to get a pen test box in the cloud. It's also the best way to get pen test tools onto your small embedded devices. VMware and VirtualBox appliances. These are not currently built weekly. The ISOs are. So when you grab one of these, as soon as you import it, it will be out of date, but it's like one command to get it updated. They're pre-built virtual appliances. Like I said, they weigh in about 7 gigs. They come with XFCE, installed, configured, and customized. And you basically download it, import it, and you're up and running. You're good to go. We also have ISO USB live CDs that come with an installer. You can take the ISO off the website, literally DD it onto a thumb drive, plug it in, and boot a machine off of it. Comes fully configured with every package. Also, it's large, 7 or 9 gigs for the ISO. It's pretty big. That ISO is rebuilt weekly, so any updates that we push out a week later, they will also be in a live CD. So if you did a pen test this week and it's been 2 weeks, literally go grab the ISO, reflash it, plug it in, and you'll have all the newest stuff. Beginner-friendly guided install experience. We've already kind of covered that. Basically, it's a multiple choice quiz. It asks you the questions that you are required to answer to install Arch, and then it basically does all the messy work behind the scenes for you. Offers multiple desktop environment window management options. This is a default install of XFCE. This is the OpenBox variant. And this is my personal favorite, the i3 window manager variant. And once again, you can trash all of this if you don't like it. You can customize it once you're done. It's very easy. We just decided to give it our own little touch. All right, tools. I've said this number way too many times at this point, 1,200 tools. Not all of them are stable. About a little over 700 at this point are stable. Stable as in human verified, tested, functional, usable today. There are others that are in testing, and that doesn't mean they are inherently unstable. It means that they have not gone through the human validation process to confirm that they are stable. They build, they don't throw errors. It is possible you get it into an environment that we don't have a test bed at, or that the package is from like 1996, and we're like, do people still use that? I think people still use that. I don't know. But it's in there. We have packages that aren't yet in Kali. Not saying they won't be in Kali, I'm saying that they're not yet. Overall, we have 42 categories of tools. You can search by these categories directly within the package manager. Some of them: crackers, web apps, crypto, decompile, Bluetooth, social engineering, database, wordless, brute force, Stego, fingerprinting, wireless, malware, analysis, fuzzers, recon, reversing, backdoors, man in the middle. It's a bunch. We have processes for building and testing all of our packages. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but it's because we need them to. That's actually how I became a partner / maintainer of ArchStrike. It was previously named a different distro, there was whatever, and it was from coming in while working on a weird project on an ARM board and reporting bugs and helping triage those bugs that now I'm standing here talking to you. We offer 2 layers, we've already covered that. Everything is on GitHub. Everything. You go to our GitHub, every package build, every binary, not every binary as in build, but every binary as in if we ship you a wallpaper, the whole thing is sitting right there on GitHub. You can look at everything before you install anything. This is also beneficial if you find a package that is broken and you would like to attempt to triage it yourself, or you have to triage it yourself in a pinch. You have the package builder right there. You can pull it down, you can try and run it, see if there's some kind of compilation error. There shouldn't be, but there might be some other missing dependency or something that only happens if you hit an edge case in your testing. One example of this was we tried to build some kind of automated testing thing, and our criteria was like you had to be able to run help. Okay, so that meant that it compiled. And then you would get into weird edge cases where, okay, well, if it's loading this Python module, that Python module for that one type of scan imports this other library. And, so there are edge cases that are hard to test, and you might only find them in the real world. In that case, you could attempt to rebuild the package yourself using the exact package build we did to do it, including that new dependency that was missing, or you can report it more. Our build environment, all packages are built inside of clean chroots. This helps us narrow down missing dependencies and everything like that. It's also just part of the Arch way. It's the recommended guidelines. They're built on real hardware. We don't use QEMU emulation for any of the ARM-based stuff. We found it unreliable. It can generate problems when moving into real hardware. So we actually build our ARM packages on ARM boards. We have fully automated robot minions that do all of our package building, signing, uploading, and distributing the mirrors. It's a pretty awesome cluster. I was pretty surprised at how well it works. It's fully automated, has error detection via tool sets provided by the Arch team, such as DamCap and others, as well as before a package build is ever pushed into our build cluster, it goes through human validation. Like I said, it's built and tried to be tested in a realistic environment. It's so bleeding edge, you'll need a Band-Aid. Packages built directly from GitHub when possible. Automated upstream version tracking. Like I said, we're upstream friendly. If they pull it in, we kick it out. All right, now we're going to try to do this. Praise be unto thy demo gods. So, first things first, I'll show you this because it's hilarious.
Does Black Arch packages work with that?
Black Arch and us are, I'm showing you this because I think it's hilarious. I have an open abuse ticket.
Oh.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going to spin up the window. So basically, let me get this booting and then I'll explain the Black Arch situation. Because this booting takes a couple minutes.
Does Linode stream the patching in like they do for Debian images on Linode?
I'm actually not sure. Alright, so while that boots, Black Arch and us, I should not be saying this on camera, have a strenuous friendship. Bottom line is, before I ever joined the product, before I even knew what it was, there's one person on our core team that was part of the Black Arch team along with another. There were fundamental disagreements about how much one should stick to the Arch way. Is it better to do it right and make sure it's pragmatic, or is it better to get it done fast and kind of get it out there and then deal with the backlash? Because of conflict in ideology and pragmatism around that subject, two people basically left that team, took their package builds, forked them, and created what was Arch Assault. Arch Assault had a decent track record, and One of those two people decided he wanted to take his ball and go home, probably the same one that led to this whole thing, and refused to hand over some key parts of infrastructure so we could continue to maintain the project. He left. We took what we had, we spun it off as our own project and put fundamental rules in place for our development team about distributing infrastructure. This is why we have build clusters. This is why everything is on GitHub. We try to spread out the overall influence that any single member of the team can have on impacting the team. So we all host different parts of the infrastructure, and we all hold relative keys to the castle. So are we like Black Arch? A little bit, yes. Are we different from Black Arch? Absolutely. Let's see if we can get any of this back. Just wait for that to start responding. Is there any other questions while we're still? Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Just quick.
I got a question about tools. You said that you can choose your tools that you want to install.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the ability to have tool sets? So, like, if you're new and you want like a basic CTF kit,
you can search. I'll show you how you can find tools based on functionalities or what you're potentially looking for, and then how you can search for just ArchAssault package or ArchAssault issues. ArchStrike packages once you have a functional install. So we're logged in as root. This is a brand new machine. I'm going to move this over here.
The testing repo has a meta package that has default symbols in it too.
The testing repo for
ArchStrike, there's a meta package in the testing repo that has some of your standard tools that you install.
See, this guy knows more than I do. All right, so I'm going to set this up. So if you go to the website, go to the wiki, there is a setup guide here, and it basically goes through installation into an existing install. So first step, all we got to do, grab the distribution server, the mirror server if you will, and throw it into our pacman conf. This just basically says, hey, package manager, start looking here for packages too. So we'll do that. Next, we have to, can you not see?
Oh, but this is all being done from the USB key?
No, this is all happening with VPS on Linux. So this is a server out on the internet ready to roll.
Okay.
So we just basically added those two lines. We come down here. Now what we're basically doing here is telling it to update. Basically go out to the server go out to all the servers that we're currently monitoring or following in our package manager configuration and fetch them. So there you see at the very bottom, it just fetched ArchStrike. And somehow this comes. Now, this is the part where people get tripped up. It's very straightforward. You can literally just copy and paste it. We need to emit a pacman key, which is basically the keys that are used for package management. That's it. And this is our entropy.
And
And
we love that VPS entropy.
oh yeah. Now we're going to attempt to receive this key. This failed back last night, so
start slamming on the keyboard.
you just start punching the computer. Luckily, we actually have run into this issue previously where the key server, that one actually worked. If you experience that problem, you can see down here, we have a secondary method where you can actually get the actual key file. We provide hashes to confirm that it has not been tampered with in transit. It's delivered over HTTPS. You can basically import it into your key ring and locally sign it, which we'll discuss why that has happened in a second. So now we're going to locally sign the key that we just imported. So this key that we're locally signing is basically the key that is used to sign the key ring itself. So we have a small collection of keys for the build bots and the devs, and this is what lets us sign our packages so you know that we're the ones that compiled them and built them and they are legit. So if somebody were to attempt to push false packages to our servers, they would fail verification during installation. So what we just did there was we locally signed that key. We said this is one that we care about and just trust it. And now we need to install the ArchStrike keyring. There you go. Now the keys have been imported and signed. And from there, now that we have an updated keyring, we can import the mirror list. Now we're done with that. We now have all the keys needed to confirm packages are coming from where they are supposed to come from, and we have a list of places that they can be fetched. Now, when I said in one of the previous slides that it only takes 10 steps to get to a functional, you can see that there are more steps here for configuring the mirror list and everything else. But you can see that right there we just listed all of the packages. So we can install any ArchStrike package at this point. There are more steps if you would like to properly configure your mirrors, and you should, but we're done. That's it. We now have a functional pen testing distro in the cloud, if you will. So let's do WFuzz, ACE's favorite package. And we will, and I know this packet by heart at this point, so let's see if I can remember this. And we'll run that against ASDF.com, positive URLs. And there you go. So we are now basically fuzzing that server, its web directory. And you know, there are packages within the core Arch packages that, okay, so these are what I would refer to as real world examples for this kind of stuff. I don't know if I should go down that path. Just to show you the simplicity, let's install Tor, and we'll install proxy chains. Those do not come from ArchStrike, by the way. Those are community, I believe they're /extra packages. So they're maintained by the core Arch devs. And now, let's start Tor. And let's run our same WFuzz that we just ran from proxy chains. So now we are exiting a random node on the other side of God only knows where, routing our WFuzz request through it. As you can see, we must be very far away. It's very slow. So eventually it will die. So we can do stuff like just to confirm that things are working as we expect. So you can see the first one, our real IP, the second one, us routing all of our traffic and all of our stuff. This is very handy. I use it a lot for malware and honeypot stuff. It's handy to be able to say, oh, something happened in my honeypot. I want to investigate that thing. I don't want them to know it came from my honeypot when I'm investigating it. I don't want them to know that it came from my business. I don't want it coming from my work IP exits, and I don't want it coming from my home. So, fantastic. So, I mean, that is the basics. If you wanted to do a full install, you could literally just run pacman s ArchStrike -- needed, and you'll see here. You want to install all. Just say yes.
Can you show us our categories, package categories?
Yes. 1 second. I'll show you what we're up here. 3DB. And as you can see, half of these packages won't matter in a VPS instance. We won't even have X server installed, but if you're trying to just go with the shotgun approach. And we'll say yes, we don't want that to happen. Now it's listing all the packages, and we can see here that we're going to download 2 gigs of packages. It's going to lead to a net install of 7 gigs. We want to search in categories. So, like for example, I want to see all of the packages that relate to crypto. I can literally just do ArchStrike crypto. Oh no, that's just do crypto. You can see here that we've got packages grouped over here. And this is the case for all of the different categories. As we build the packages and put them in here, they get flagged for their respective categories. So yeah, that's about it. Let me do one last slide, and then I'll be out of your hair. So, going in the future, we want to automate ISOs and DNS buildings. We would like to continue to grow the community and get the word out more. I'm actually speaking here today because I was invited, not because we wanted to. So that's a good sign, in my opinion. It means that people are finding us. We would like to offer customized menus to make the desktop environment integrations better, so you can quickly navigate through. If you would like to be a maintainer, you would like to help, you would like to submit pull requests, fix bugs, and do that kind of stuff, please come find us. And our goal is to be your preferred pen testing distro. Don't thank me. That guy over there knows more about it than I do. Thank these guys. They are the primary maintainers at this point. They can all be found idling on IRC. Pound ArchStrike. You can find us on Twitter at ArchStrike. We have a subreddit that we're kind of calling a forum right now. It's hopefully going to become our means of letting the community propose ideas, vote on ideas, comment on ideas, stuff like that. We have GitHub. This is where we host all the package builds. You can file tickets, you can submit pull requests, anything like that. And then we have the website where you can download ISOs. You can even check on what packages are building, what status they're building as, are they failing, all kinds of good stuff. The wiki, all kinds of good stuff. So, we're done. But if you have questions, throw them at me.
Very good.
Yep.
You lost the